Okay. So there's one paper that's turned face down, and the reason it's turned face down is because I don't want you to go into the words until the song. And when the song is played, I'd like for you to follow the words to make sure you actually know what the words are. Then later, when we listen to the song again, we will not use the words. We will just feel into the song. So that's the purpose for that. I don't want the mind to start programming, you know how we do, trying to take everything in through the mind first. Um, we are fond of quoting Shakyamuni Buddha as saying that we should give up rites and rituals, but he wasn't saying that we should give up rites and rituals. We should just not think that by just going through the perfunctory actions of performing rites and rituals that we should receive any benefit of it. But when we are engaged from the inside in them, then the rites and rituals have are of great benefit to us and have great effect in our lives. So it's not that we don't perform rites and rituals; we just don't do it mindlessly. And in a perfunctory matter, thinking that there's something in the actual rite or ritual. It's the same if we're doing mantras or reciting doing mudras or reciting mantras. Just the recitation alone is without value, but when the heart enters into the recitation, that's what gives it vitality, that's what gives it life, and that's what sets into motion the condition for conditions to change and to shift. So we can find not only great comfort, but we can activate great power in the shifting of outer conditions by the amount of heart and effort that we put into the things that we do. You know the difference between when somebody's just offhandedly giving you something, or offhandedly saying something, or whether their heart is really engaged in what they say and what they mean. It has a certain power and it brings a certain availability to the moment in line with the words rather than just the words alone. So make sure that whatever we do or whatever we say, that we engage and activate the heart in it, and we will have good success. So we're going to start with just reciting 3 times today. How many people have been doing this month? Okay. So how many know where their paper is at home? Okay. If you don't know where your paper is, you can take this one today. If you know where your paper is at home, leave this one here and use your paper at home. But what we're trying to do is to just recite this 3 times. If three short paragraphs is too much for you, just do the first one. Okay, maybe we can just start with that, because it's sort of like 3 different ways of saying the same thing with a little bit of emphasis, a different emphasis in each recitation. The emphasis in the first recitation is on especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles for me on my path. Because we have a certain perspective for self-preservation when we encounter such beings, right? And so this is working at us. If you hate me and I hate you, even if I hate you because you hate me, how is that different? It's not different. And so even when one is hated, one cannot hate in return. Otherwise, it makes your first argument for hatred moot. And so we're learning how to not hate in spite of ones who may hate us. We're learning how not to be obstructive to ones who obstruct us. So if you block me, I'm not gonna block you. If I can still help you, if you block me, fine, I'll help you. Your my uh whatever I do that. That's uh, that's on me. That's on me. Whatever you do is on you. But if I do the same thing that you do, even if you were the instigator, if I do the same thing that you do, how am I any different than you? And so he tells us to think more deeply than retaliation. This is the way that we actually transform inside, and we actually transmute what is bitter, what into sweet. We think of our own habitual tendencies, our own like human nature, but he says that our original intrinsic nature is something entirely different. He says if it wasn't, you could never bring it forward because it has to already be resident in you. So these we need a different way to look at and process and work through the vicissitudes of life, the circumstances that we find ourselves up against. And that's what the Dharma does. It gives us a completely different way of understanding what's in front of us, of processing it so that a different result can come forward, and for finding or tapping back into unveiling, releasing, delivering, bringing to the forefront our original Buddha nature. The second one talks about a time period. We're talking about until I achieve awakening. That could be a million lifetimes away. Until then, I'm going to engage in virtuous deeds. And then it changes the timeline. And it just says like, okay, not until I achieve awakening, um, until this time tomorrow. I'm going to work at this until tomorrow. I just take one day at a time, until tomorrow, I'm going to engage in virtuous deeds of body, speech, and mind. And then when we get to the third one, we remind ourselves that previous Buddhas developed and awakened and progressed this way. And that I too, because I'm just an unawakened Buddha, that I will engage in these practices until I come to myself. You know how many times we have an aha moment and we come to ourselves. We can't overcome something. We can't let something go. We just can't fix something. Try as we might. We want to, but it just seems like the skill is not available. It's not arising for us at the moment. And then suddenly something comes to us and we suddenly have the power, the tenacity, the will, the drive, the more than the aspiration, the willingness to move in that direction. You can be upset with someone or angry with someone. I'm not going to talk to them. I don't even want to see them. And then suddenly it comes to you maybe in 3 days, in 5 days, in a week, in a month, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years that you do. And at that moment that it dawns on you that they are precious to you, in that moment you can face them. But before that time that the mind came to that realization that they were precious to you, you could not. You just could not, you know. And so these kinds of prayers or aspirations, they're not begging an outer power to intervene or do something for you. It's almost like talking to your alter ego, encouraging you yourself to come back to your highest self or to emerge or step into your highest self. Now, these are trainings. They're trainings, mind trainings. So when we think of prayers within the Buddhist diaspora, we don't think of praying to a deity or God to do something for us, but we think in terms of arousing our highest aspiration and stepping into our greatest personal superpower, that I can do it. I really have this mind, that maybe I'm weak in the capacity to do it, but inside I really want to do it. I'm just not quite strong enough yet. I'm not really brave enough yet. Maybe I haven't missed them enough yet. I haven't suffered enough yet. There's something that steadily arises in our consciousness because we are reflecting, we are uh, pondering, we are thinking about what our actions mean. There's no way we can do this practice without it coming back into our face, flying into our face every time we make a mistake. The Dharma is our friend in that it doesn't support us in our wrong thoughts. We like a friend who's going to agree with us, but the Dharma is our true friend because it does not support us in wrong thoughts. It just points, it points, and that's a friend that we can be thankful for and we can rely upon. So in this third one, even though we are taking refuge, we're taking refuge in the path of study and practice that all of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas have done to be successful in life. So that's how we should think of prayers. We're not waiting for some deity to come and do something for us, but we're reminded that they are the foe destroyers, they are the overcomers, and in the same way they overcame, I too can overcome. So we're going to open today with just the first one, and we're going to say that one 3 times, and then we're going to listen to the opening song, and then I'd like to maybe give a commentary on this song. Sometimes a song can do more than because it has a way of bypassing the intellect, you see. That's the thing about a song. That's the thing about music. It has a way of taking us beyond our head and touching the inner man. And so rationale doesn't rationale doesn't dwell there in the heart. Rationale dwells in the head. Rationale is tied together with self-preservation. But the heart is always open and reaching for union with the other. So we can start with the recitation first. And we're just going to do the first one 3 times, and then we'll go to the song.
Want to check? All other sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles to liberation and all knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious awakening. All other sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious way. All mothers, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious awakening.
The body scanner reveals the brutal truth about your body that your regular scale will never tell you. For weeks, my
Close your eyes, breathe it in. Let the stillness begin. Feel the light in your chest. Let your soul find rest. You've been chasing, always trying, running fast, but never finding what was waiting deep inside. A peace that never hides. No more fear, no more fight, just the calm of endless light. When you let go, you'll see the love that sets you free. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, it's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Walk slow, breathe deep, stay kind. Leave the heavy world behind. Every tear, every scar led you right to where you are. You don't need to prove your worth. You've been magic since your birth. Every moment, every breath is love that never lasts. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, it's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Let go, be free, let your soul align. You're divine by design.
Are you wearing
I found that song last night. I think there is another version because I've been listening to it all morning, and it actually is a little bit different than that one. And that one doesn't touch me quite the way the other one did. But um, um, but now I want you, because you have the words and you can see the words, I want you to listen to it one more time. And now listen to it just from the heart. Close your eyes, breathe it in, let the stillness begin, and feel the light in your chest. Let your soul find rest. You've been chasing, always trying, running fast, but never finding what was waiting deep inside. A peace that never hides. No more fear, no more fight. Just the calm of endless light. When you let go, you'll see the love that sets you free. Spiritual peace and happiness, it's not out there. It's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. So let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. Walk slowly, breathe deep, stay kind. Leave the heavy world behind. Every tear and every scar led you right to where you are. You don't need to prove your worth. You've been magic since your birth. Every moment, every breath is love that never left. Spiritual peace and happiness is not out there. It's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. You were born with all of this. So let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. Let go, be free. Let your soul align. You're divine by design. Every piece, every step, every smile, every day, peace and happiness will stay. Can we listen to it one more time? And now, if you can, you'll be able to hear the words now that you've seen the words, and now that you've heard the words. Now just feel the words.
Close your eyes, breathe it in. Let the stillness begin. Feel the light in your chest. Let your soul find rest. You've been chasing, always trying, running fast, but never finding what was waiting deep inside. A peace that never hides. No more fear, no more fight. Just the calm of endless light. When you let go, you'll see the love that sets you free. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, it's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Walk slow, breathe deep, stay kind. Leave the heavy world behind. Every tear, every scar led you right to where you are. You don't need to prove your worth. You've been magic since your birth. Every moment, every breath is love that never left. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, that's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness, you were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Let go, be free, let your soul align. You're divine by design. Every step, every smile, every day. Peace and happiness will stay.
Yay.
Yay, I agree. I agree. I was contemplating a situation between some friends of mine and wondering how I could help. And I kept saying, this is a situation, and it needs to be rectified. And I asked Buddha Master to give me some wisdom on how to do it. You know, I said, and I was waiting for this, like this stroke of lightning. We think of wisdom as being so clear and so powerful, but the true wisdom is actually found in the quantity of compassion that you bring to the moment, to the compassion that you bring to a circumstance. And it was there that wisdom and compassion kind of bled over into each other. And what he gave me was compassion for the individual, not wisdom, what to say to them, how to speak into the situation and straighten it out. It wasn't that at all. But what he did was he let me tap deeply into the pain and the suffering that promoted the view of both sides. So I could see the pain of one and equally the pain of the other. And he said, where the vindication is going to come, not in who's right or who's wrong, but in the releasing of the pain, the releasing of the pain. And so he gave me he reminded me of a practice that I pick up from time to time. Sometimes you have to decide what you're ready for. And sometimes you need, I used to say, somebody asked me maybe 20 years ago, as a Buddhist, did I pray, and at that time, or maybe it was 30 years ago, early when I was a Buddhist practitioner, did I pray? And if so, how did I pray? And what did I pray? I said, when I'm feeling weak, I pray to God to help me. When I'm feeling strong, I affirm what I am made of. I says, I think those are two sides of a prayer. So it just depends on whether you catch me on a weekday or on a strong, not weak, E-E-K, W-E-A-K, whether you catch me on a weekday or you catch me on a strong day, what constitutes prayer for me. And so there is a training called the Wheel of Sharp Weapons. And I don't recommend that you work with that too much unless you work with it on your strong days. On your weekdays, one should give oneself compassion. On your strong days, then the Wheel of Sharp Weapons is for you. But the thing about the Wheel of Sharp Weapons is it starts to set up a baseline in the mind. And that baseline ties us in to our understanding of cause and effect. and of karma. And we're all in agreement with cause and effect, except when it doesn't make sense to us. When it doesn't make sense, then we're not so much in agreement with. We still say, yeah, I believe in cause and effect. I understand that all conditions are due to causes. But when we can't make sense of this condition right here in front of us, we're not so tamped down on the cause and effect thing, you know. But this helps to set up a baseline that we are always tapped into cause and effect. And so it says in training the mind, we should never see the faults in ourselves as having a source in other beings. We see them as being caused by the self. And so instead of blaming others, we should generate thoughts of great kindness for all beings. All the sufferings of body and mind result from having previously disturbed the bodies and the minds of others, and also from breaking any precepts that we have taken, whether that's the mind stream that is attached to this physical body, that's our current me, or the mind stream that we inherited that have been attached to our bodies of previous times. We think about this teaching, which cannot but benefit the mind. And so Nagarjuna brought this training into being in this particular way. And this takes a lot of confidence in mind training, in Buddhist mind training, because if I were talking this over with a friend, and especially if they have not undertaken this kind of mind training, they're gonna say, girl, that don't make no sense. You know, or they may not even believe in rebirth thinking consciousness. That's number one. I mean, like, you can't really fault me. I inherited this mind stream, you know, so Panyawadi didn't really do it. Panyawadi inherited it. So here's a great chance, a great opportunity for me to help uproot the defilements of this mind stream. And so can you see in a way our interconnectedness, and that a lot of things we blame ourselves for, or mostly we blame others for, doesn't really have a lot to do with them. It's not a habit they picked up yesterday, last week, last month, you know, but it was inherited. It came along with the mind stream. And so here we are having an opportunity to release this that has been put into the world, is traveling onward, and we keep it going or we shut it down. So when we work on ourselves, can you see the universal nature of that work? It's not personal work. It's not individual work. So when one thinks like that, I mean, consciously thinks like that, consciously recognizes that every time I work on uprooting some unwholesome characteristic or quality in myself, I am helping other living beings. I am saving other living beings. I am taking something out of the world that was introduced to the world, maybe not by me, but here's my chance to neutralize it and to uproot it. You know, just thinking in that way starts to put us into the bodhisattva mindset. So when we have problems, if we can think, they certainly arise because we have disturbed the minds of others, or this mind stream that has afflicted others in this way. And this is just the payback. This is just the playback, the blowback from it. And when I understand that, I don't keep it going, but I can neutralize it. Right here, this ends right here, right now. It ends when I change the trajectory of this thought that is out in the world. We talk about radicalizing people a lot right now. And we can understand it out there, but do we really understand it in here? You know, when you're constantly hearing something, constantly repeating something, constantly looking at something the way somebody else sees it until you start to see it the way they see it. And then suddenly their mind has now become your mind. Then they say that you have been radicalized. And you start doing, just, I raised my kid. He was a good kid. I don't know what happened, but he stopped listening to me and he started listening to these voices and he took on the mind of those voices and their mind became his mind. I was watching, when I was watching Face the Nation this morning, there was an ad that came on, a commercial that came on, and it was I think it's the WWE or something like that. And it was the wrestling. And I thought about how it became predominant, you know, over the last maybe 10 or more years. I don't watch it, so I don't really know. But how if they considered it family sport and they take their little children, you know, to these wrestling matches and they watch them brutalize each other and how that kind of sense of brutality just begin to filter into the hearts of the minds of the children. And then we have all this bullying at school and I mean like slamming them down, stomping on them, just like you see on WWE or whatever it's called, you know, and how it became normalized behavior in a way. But now you can see the effects that it has had on our children. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what winning is. Um, and I could see how it has ruined at least two generations of by introducing our kids and radicalizing them to this kind of behavior. Uh, and this is what happens, you know, in the conduct of worldly life. Now, these teachings come forward to remind us that before we were human, that there existed a kind of nature that doesn't carry the same low level of sentience that we employ. When I say low level of sentience, I mean, like when you think about how a father loves his child, how a mother loves her child, you know, and how there's just a natural compassion there to comfort or to take care of, to nurture, to look after. And unless something filters in to destroy that relationship, unless there's some subterfuge from the outside, that natural instinct is there. But if something comes in from the outside and begins to thwart that natural intention and feeling, then you see this radical shift or this radical change, and they say that that parent has abused that child. And so we know that that capacity has come from some other than the innate source. Uh, of course, our first line of defense is to protect that one that is uh, being abused or that's being bullied or that's uh, being challenged in a way that they cannot defend themselves, you know, but that's our first line of defense. But the Dharma teaches us that one has to also look at the abuser and that we have to garner or cultivate a kind of compassion for the abuser. And that's the beginning of moving out of the ordinary state of the human mind and to enter into the expanded bodhicitta, awakened mind of the bodhisattva, one who's on the path to Buddhahood. So we should understand why we do these practices and what they do for us, how they transform the way that we see and we understand conditions. And then we'll find ourselves capable to meet a situation, but with the right medicine that can heal, with the right cure. And so we struggle through life, because we don't have the fullness of compassion. We don't have the fullness of wisdom. And so we aren't able to offer the perfect remedy, But each time we put forth the effort, he says we can look back and we can examine and we can see not necessarily what we did right, because what's done right needs no defense, but we can look at where we have been insufficient, where we've been deficient in our remedy. And he says you tool with that. You work with making your potion more potent. Yeah, making your potion more potent. And so that's an advanced, you could say, that's an advanced way of learning how to solve our problems. But the challenge with that is where we have to go to pull our ingredients. In training the mind, I repeat, we never see the faults in ourselves as having a source or being caused by other beings. He abused me, he beat me, he robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts in them, hatred, will never be appeased. Didn't say he didn't abuse you, beat you, or rob. Said that, but if you keep thinking and dwelling on it, hatred will grow in you and never decrease. What a sad commentary. After all of our aspiration, after all of our practice, after all of our intentions, to lose the fight that way. And so he says that whenever we have these lessons, we should immediately go to understand our own faults instead of the other person. Now that's a tough training. It's hard for me, at least. That's a tough training. But if we would commit ourselves to it and we would try, fail as we might, we'd go back and continually try again and again. And it doesn't mean that you just allow somebody to do anything to you, because along with that kind of compassionate intention comes the wisdom of how to take care of yourself in the situation. Now, and you have to think that that kind of compassion has the power to prevail. And if you don't think it has the power to prevail, then you're not going to be able to make use of it. But if you do think, or through experience know, that it has the power to prevail, it just comes down to a matter of, are you willing? Am I willing right now to yield in this way? Am I willing? And it's not for the faint of heart, but it is for those of us who constantly make that our aspiration, and those of us who constantly proclaim it to others. Because otherwise we are hypocrites. And I just like, we got to let somebody call a spade a spade. I like it better when when Buddha does it. Maybe not when you do it, like, not when you say it to me. But when Buddha says it to me, I can take it either because I think he's all knowing and all wise, or because I don't really believe he's real, you know. So you can pick your choice, but it allows you to be able to hear it, is what I'm saying. You know, sometimes one person can say something to you, and because of the relationship, that you have developed with them, you can hear it from them. You can tolerate it, you can allow it. But another, who hasn't done the, who hasn't done the work, and established a certain kind of relationship with me, you have to be careful what you say to me and how you say it, until I get to this place in my development, until you get to this place in your development, that when you hear something, there was a sister, I can't remember her name, but and she came and she stayed with us for a while, maybe 15 years ago. And no matter what you said in correcting her or even in criticizing her, she would say, "Thank you for that. I will ponder what you said." She never once defended herself. Never. And I marveled, you know. I stayed with the master and she said, to stay here, you have to be able to accept many blames. I said, "Oh, yeah, I can accept many blames." Then something came up and she was blaming me. I said, "But I didn't do it, you know." And then something else came up and she blamed me. I said, "And I didn't do that either." And then something came up, but the third time she blamed me, then I saw what she was doing, being able to accept many blames. Could I hold my peace and tolerate being falsely accused? Could I hold my peace? And sometimes what somebody's saying to you might not be 100% wrong. It might only be 60% wrong. Am I willing to see the 40% that's right? And so this is our own practice that we have to take up. And I'll tell you the truth, half of our dismay with the other person actually is misplaced. It's a recognition, that all our stuff is not sweet smelling, but it's hard for us to look at that, because right now I'm talking about your faults. This is what the conversation is around. It's around your faults right now, and so but there is that, there is that finger pointing back, and we know that we're not 100% blameless, and so we have the guilt of that combined with the indignation. I mean, we just found ourselves in a conundrum. And we're trying the best we can to dig ourselves out of it. I'm telling you today about how he says, if you really want to come out, if you really want to come out of it, and if you want to give others the space in which they can come out of this same deficient action that we engage in, he says, this is how you should train the mind. Now the question comes up, well, is it true though? But is it true? He's saying a training, in this case, I would say it is true, but that's just because of what I hold to be true within the Dharma. What you hold to be true in the Dharma could be something different, because we have different minds, different understandings, different levels of competency, different levels of training. So let's say that I don't embrace rebirth linking consciousness. I just think like I was born and now I'm here and this is me, So I don't want to hear anything about past life stuff, because that hasn't been proved by me. So I can't accept that there was something in the past that this mind stream, or some offense that it's paying for now, or it's some good deed that it's collecting the benefit of that now. Let's say, like, I can't get with all of that. fine. You don't have to go that far. Just take whatever part you can take and use that. So I could say in this sense that how does this training, how would this kind of training fit me? Well, the first thing that it does, or one way that it can benefit me if I didn't believe, say, in rebirth linking consciousness is, and what training am I talking about? I'm talking about thinking that if nothing that happens to me can be blamed on someone else. I'm talking about that particular thing right now. One way we can hold that is that we learn to be toughened in a way that we can hold fast to our own truth. If I can hold fast to my own truth, I don't get upset about what your truth is. I only get upset about what your truth is when it disturbs my truth, But if I wasn't disturbed by your truth, then I wouldn't get upset about that. If your truth was that donkeys fly, and I've never seen one fly, I'm not gonna get, I'm not gonna spend too much time with that, But if I spend a lot of time with that, it's because you have challenged my truth, you see. So a thing doesn't necessarily have to be true to help you to find out and know where you stand, what you hold, and how to hold fast to your own to your own deepest conviction about yourself. The only way I lose confidence in myself over what you say to me or to others about me is whether it challenges on some deep level how I really feel about myself. Isn't that true? That's what gets me upset or makes me feel insecure. If I'm thinking like, maybe that's true, maybe maybe I am always like this. Maybe maybe the thoughts occurred to me, but but now that she's out here saying it, or he's out here, um, pressing on that spot. And so it has to do with some feeling of insecurity that we have within ourselves. And so he points back to the fact that everything starts and begins here with me. This is our work. This is our practice. This is our medicine. This is what relieves us. And so I love this song that I heard because it takes us back, encourages or invites us to go deep inside to see what it is we think about ourselves that makes us respond the way we do to the external conditions that we get confronted with. I mean, this Wheel of Sharp Weapons, it's like really, really tough. You got to be ready for it. If you're not ready for it, it'll turn you awful. Just don't pick it up until you need some stronger medicine. That's what I'm going to say. I've been battling with something, and I always knew of a stronger remedy, but I thought I didn't want to pick it up, so I'm trying all these other little remedies. And finally, yesterday, I got to the stronger remedy, and I'm like, I should have just gone straight there to begin with, But I thought the stronger remedy was going to be too strong. I thought it was going to hurt me, I thought I wasn't ready for it, and so I didn't want to do it. But I wish I had done it first, just cut straight to the chase. I could have been feeling better a week ago, and so we're like that in our remedies. We try to take the lightest remedy first. So there is a practice, it's called passing through barriers. What's it called? The Dharma to pass through barriers. I'm liking it more and more. Maybe that's because I haven't fully activated the practice, but I'm thinking about it more and more and thinking about it in a more kindly way. But he says you take the thing that you're having the most trouble with, the greatest struggle with, and that becomes your focus for uprooting and eradicating. We always like start the baby steps, and that's appropriate in many, many, many situations, but not in all situations. Sometimes we just have to go for the jugular. We have to cut it off. We just have to cut it off. And if we don't cut it off, it just little by little erodes until it sucks the life out of you. But he says, just go for that and cut it off. And you'll find that when you cut that big one off, all these little ones topple. They like child's play, and you might have 6 things that you want to shift the way that you think or respond to in life. And just go to the strongest one of those 6. The other 5 will run scared. They'll just, there won't even be an issue for you because you're like, "Arr!" That's the lion's roar, that's the lion's roar. And so sometimes we have to, we are encouraged, at least try it, and he says, now, when you go to try this, says the important thing is like, it's not like try, it's like Yoda, we don't try, we either do or we don't do. So you go in with that kind of strength and that kind of confidence, and it can carry you away, give you a little bit of vitality so that you have a little bit more strength. You could try a little harder, and you have a greater chance of being successful. Not like I'm gonna taste, see how hot the water is, but like he's like, "Arr!" That's the lion's roar. And Buddha Master has his music is something, I'm not up with it yet. It's a little bit above me, so I'm still trying to figure his music out. Like I'm trying to figure out a lot of his teachings. They are above me too, but little by little, I'm beginning to understand them. Yeah. So I will get there with the music. So I play it in little bits, but he has one where he does the lion's roar in it. And I just like to play it and fast forward to the roar. I just like to listen to the roar. It is such a lion, and I mean, it is totally a lion. He just transformed into a lion and gave that roar. One day I'm gonna play it for you. But just that one thing did so much for me in my understanding about how, when we penetrate the meaning of something, that it actually changes the structure of appearances in the outer world. Because he transformed into a lion at that moment. He just wasn't like a human giving a lion's roar. That's what I'm saying. In that moment, he shifted, and he brought into manifestation the lion. And so he says that we can develop this kind of capacity. And it starts with baby steps, but we don't just take baby steps forever. We'll never get there. So sometimes we have to take one giant leap for mankind, and when one does it with the knowledge that one is doing it, it is very, very powerful. It's like having $1,000 in the bank and knowing it so you can spend it. But if it's there and you don't know it, you won't spend it. So he directed me towards compassion for the internal suffering as the antidote. He said, point them towards that. So that's my encouragement for today. When we are feeling that somebody is doing something to us. And I'm not saying that they're not doing it, but I'm saying, what is your stand? What is your position? Where will you find your deliverance? And as much as we talk about belief is not reliable, we all believe in a lot of things. You know, and we might say it's not belief. You know, we might poo-poo and look down on belief. But when you really penetrate and understand what belief is, I mean, there's so many things we believe in. It would be silly to even try to come up with what things we do and speak and act on that we don't believe in. You know, we don't call it belief, we just call it living, you know. But, you know, we do believe, otherwise we would have no energy for or intention for movement, from getting out of bed in the morning to what we do throughout the day, to retiring at night, expecting that we're going to wake up tomorrow morning. You know, it's what gives us our motivation for moving throughout the day, for contemplating what we contemplate, and for whatever actions we take up. So don't get into an argument about belief and non-belief. Yes.
What did you call the reading, which I'm sure I shouldn't be reading?
The wheel of sharp weapons.
I don't know if I'm going there, but.
Yeah, it's tough, but I like it. I like it because, you know, it depends on what we're reaching for, you know, and it depends on what I am. As far as I know, you know, you have to ask yourself this question: how much have you given to wanting to be a good person in this life? As far as I know, I've given a lot to let you come and destroy it for me. You know, I've given a lot. And so why put in all this effort and all this work to let someone who may or may not be committed to the same things destroy your work? It doesn't even make sense. But yet we do it all the time. Why? Because we haven't had the right training of the mind that helps us turn from that. So these teachings are hard. They're difficult. They're rough. They hurt your feelings. You know, but if we take them in the spirit in which they are given to save your life, you know, to make use of this precious human life. If I don't use them for things like this, I might as well be a dog or a cat. Cats have better lives maybe than dogs. At least our cats do. Dogs are almost so much like human that they a dog life because they're sort of have human sensibilities, you know, but we say, but they're a dog, you know, so we don't give them enough credit. But cats know who they are, you know, and they let you know who you are or what they think about you too. You know, dogs just trying to please all the time, trying to please. Cat, like, yeah. And next thing you know, you kowtowing to the cat. It is really true. You know, they have set things up how things are gonna run here, you know, and yeah. So, but you see, we have this opportunity to, in this incarnation, be in a precious human body. I mean, there are times I'm sure I've been in the Dave realm before because I like certain things. And I think that that's an ordinary standard. I don't think that's extraordinary. I think that's ordinary, whether I have it or not. I think it's I should have it. You know, I think it's an ordinary thing. You know, so I know I've been accustomed to something that's of a finer lifestyle than what I have enjoyed in this world. And when I got a little taste of it, like that mind stream remembered, you know, and could see the worth in it, could see the beauty of it, could see, you know, not thinking of it as a privilege, but thinking like, that's just ordinary, you know. And so we don't know unless we can see into the past lives. We don't know the history, the story of this mind stream. And if there be no other one but this one, governing the mind, inclining the mind in a certain way has the possibility of bringing out the highest and the best of whatever mind we have. And we fault others for not doing it. But the question is, do I do it myself? And I'm not saying that this is an easy job. It's not. It's not easy until it's easy, you know. Before that, it's not easy. But nevertheless, having a certain view in mind compels me to keep applying these principles. So I say for one who is called to even listen to the Dharma, you have to know and appreciate and respect the preciousness of this human life. And a lot of times we're talking about the negative aspects of it, but it has one positive aspect. And that is that we're in a place of consciousness that we can that we can change our minds and that we can penetrate to even higher realms, higher levels of understanding, higher ways of being. And that we don't have to wonder if it is possible because we've crossed the threshold where we have a knowing that this is possible. And we have examples. We have their stories if they're not living now. And we have the example of living beings around us who demonstrate these enormous capacities. And so it's just a matter of how much do we really want it. I'm in a phase right now. And sometimes I share little bits with you because it's so spectacular to me. But I have these migraine headaches that present in certain ways. Then I'm also having, you know, some kinds of spiritual experiences, but I have a wonderful neurologist. He's just wonderful, David is, because he helps me sort out which is like a spiritual experience I'm having and which is something going cuckoo in my head. You know, and he doesn't, you know, belittle me or put me down. I can really ask him questions because he's not all scientist, you know. He has either some knowing or he has some respect, and I mean truly a respect for spiritual experience and progress. And he'll say, well, I think this is, you know, something not firing right in your head. So I think that's over there in the spiritual feeling. And you know that better than me, it's not your head. You know, and that's helpful to me because I'm asking the question myself, you know, but this when this headache occurs, I see my brain inside. So when the Buddha was talking about, and this is not this, I'm not talking about me being able to see into my body, but he was talking about being able to reach a state where one can see into people's bodies and see, you know, what was wrong with them and that sort of thing through this practice. This is not you know, like functional medicine, or it's not human medicine, but he was saying when you develop, some people develop this capacity, right? And he had a doctor that traveled with him until he died. And so when he could look and some people have this capacity and see what's wrong with your body. So I was telling my doctor, and I said, you know, I see my brain out here, and it's in two pieces, I guess, left and right hemisphere. I also see something in the bottom that's a triangle. I don't know if that's real or not, where there's something there. It is. Okay, so I see a little thingy down at the bottom, but they're out there. Then it's not in here. And then stuff goes woo-woo, and then I get elephant ears, and I have sound out here because I can't hold all the sound in my head. The sound gets out there. Then I reach for Ubrelvy, and then everything comes back in here, in here. And so so I get this, and Ubrelvy helps stuff it all back inside, right? But this morning, I woke up and opened my eyes, and there it was.
Your brain?
The brain image, and it's, very bright and luminous, and then it all coalesced into a circle, like a tunnel. And it was so magnificent. And there I was traveling down this tunnel, surrounded by I can't even describe the brightness of this tunnel, but this tunnel was the sum total of everything. It was, I don't know, it was everything and it was nothing. But as I traveled down the tunnel, all that was past was forgotten. And I can't describe the feeling of it. Just the total satisfaction of being without being any particular thing. That's the best way that I could describe it, And so I closed my eyes because I wanted it to stay. I didn't want to start to become aware of, it's 7 o'clock, it's now light, this traffic moving up and down the street, and you can, kids in the other room, the cats running around. I just didn't want to touch any of this, not any of this. I just wanted to stay with that, but I couldn't stay with it. It was just some tapping in to the mind when I was not belaboring everyday ordinary thoughts and feelings and experiences. And so that's why we practice meditation, so that we can really come to the realization that mind is not inside, nor is it outside. Mind is no definitive particular place. And the more we touch those kinds of things, the less we become fastened around these false notions of what things are and how things are. And we enter into a more expanded consciousness of baseline tranquility and peace that allows every experience that we have to fit into the picture. In that space of totality, that's the only way I can describe it, because everything was encompassed in this light as I journeyed through the tunnel. And the tunnel represented for me various situations, experiences, but this experience is here, this experience here, this experience here, but all experience is within this. And touching the all is within this completely diminished the importance of any particular experience that I had, the discomfort I had physically the night before, whatever might happen today, like, I don't know, how I feel about somebody or what might come up, who cares? It is, it completely neutralized the importance of all of those things. All of them could fit within this sphere of totality. Meditation helps to expand our consciousness so that it knows that it doesn't have the last word. How wonderful that what we think is not the last word. whether we're thinking bad or thinking good, but especially when we're thinking bad, that it's not the last word. And it helps us to put into place what is happening in the present moment, that we can relax and we can let go of something that we think is so troubling, that there's no hope or there's no answer to, but that we can be so fixed in our view or in our position or our opposition, and that the mind can change just like that. But it depends on what we ponder and concentrate on. That will be the inclination of our mind. And so I'd like to close out again with the song. And this speaks to what's in us, deep within us, to touch this space of acceptance, inner acceptance. Accepting ourselves allows us.
You folks have no idea what Honey and
Accept others. The name of this song is Spiritual Peace and Happiness by, does anybody know who it's by?
Lynn Spot.
By Lenz, Lenzspot. And you can find it on YouTube or, and Apple Music, and I think and that other platform that we're on, and Spotify, and where's the, and Bandcamp, it's everywhere.
Okay.
Yep. But it's beautiful. It speaks of that we are people.
Close your eyes, breathe it in. Let the stillness begin. Feel the light in your chest. Let your soul find rest. You've been chasing, always trying, running fast, but never finding what was waiting deep inside. A peace that never hides. No more fear, no more fight, just the calm of endless light. When you let go, you'll see the love that sets you free. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, it's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Walk slow, breathe deep, stay kind. Leave the heavy world behind. Every tear, every scar led you right to where you are. You don't need to prove your worth. You've been magic since your birth. Every moment, every breath is love that never lasts. Spiritual peace and happiness. It's not out there, it's within your chest. When you stop the noise and listen close, you'll find the truth your spirit knows. Spiritual peace and happiness. You were born with all of this. Let the light wash over you and feel your heart renew. And feel your heart renew. Let go, be free. Let your soul align. You're divine by design. Every step, every smile, every day. Peace and happiness will stay.
Someone close us out.
The merit of our time here today, go benefit living beings everywhere. May living beings everywhere, in whatever form, in whatever locale, location, find spiritual peace and happiness for themselves, but then automatically for everyone they encounter. May all be well.